Good morning, everyone. Thanks for choosing America's Morning Headquarters to get you through the mid-morning hours.
That's right. The Weather Channel here to help you plan out the big events that are ahead for the day and the week, for that matter. And unfortunately, yet another few days in this winter season of having to track severe weather.
Severe weather in January and February is sort of the theme this year of 2023. Yeah. And it's a change from what we've seen in recent decades. And we'll talk about that, how that's sort of an evolving trend here.
Yes, we're going to delve into that in our couch conversation. Also on the show today, we're going to talk about something common in the wintertime, which is dry air and how it affects your skin. So stay tuned for that as well.
Right.
Well, today's big deal, pick a struggle, another storm. And Dr. Greg Postel to talk more about this. You know, Greg, it's not uncommon to get thunderstorms in the winter. It happens. But the amount that we've seen has us asking, well, okay, is something changing?
Yeah, it is changing.
Really, when you think about the number of days that we're active.
Yeah, truly amazing. I mean, we can even extend that back into December as well a bit, because remember, we had some active weeks then as well. So it has definitely been the clip of the severe weather that they're becoming. It's just a little bit much.
Yeah, and while we showed that calendar of overall severe weather, the answer is close. Yeah. We're right up there. It was third in the all-time list.
Wow. So, yeah, definitely an unusual January when it came to tornadoes.
Yeah, and obviously, as we mentioned, the South does experience
it is much less. So that is good news. But still, the risk is there for some icing. We got to be mindful of that.
I think it's a timing thing in that we're not going to spend that much time in the freezing rain. And then we get into snow.
Yeah, so that changeover happening quicker. We'll take that.
Yeah, snow is so much easier. So let's talk about all sides of it. We'll get you into this storm first in the Midwest, where, of course, we have some wintry weather. And this is where temperatures, they're not crazy cold. In fact, when you look at the headlines for some of these areas from the National Weather Service offices, it's still mild. But yet we have snow in the forecast. Even with a mild forecast here for February, that's still cold enough to produce snowfall. And so for us in Madison, we may get 5 to 8 inches. Watching the weather forecast for you there in Dane County. We've got the chance of snow 3 to 5 down across eastern Iowa, and cities like Davenport and Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, all have that chance of some new snow coming on in. It's just that it's not going to be locked in, you know, in the teens, or certainly not the single digits. It'll be in the 30s, maybe a few spots, a little bit colder than that. That's where we start right now. We're in the 20s, 28 degrees in Chicago, 28 degrees in Green Bay. We're going to see the moisture return, and as that happens, our temperatures actually will come up a little bit. They're just not coming up that far, and that's why we have some concerns for, first, a little bit of ice, maybe a glaze, and then we get into the snow. Winter storm watch, Madison, Dubuque, Cedar Rapids, Waterloo. We'll see what this turns into. Is it either a winter weather advisory or a winter storm warning? There is a winter storm warning right now posted from Green Bay to Sheboygan. It really matters. The National Weather Service issues those, and it really depends on the local areas and what they're typically used to. And that's how winter weather advisory is less severe than a winter storm warning. Now, watch the moisture come in. Rain, St. Louis to start. Rain moving up here. We'll see rain in places like Davenport and Peoria and Chicago and Milwaukee. But then you see that pink. That's a little bit of icing. So that's a possibility for you in Green Bay. But then you see how the snow fills in as we get some of that cold air filtering in on the backside of this system. Very typical trajectory of the cold air coming on in. And it'll be at eventually all layers of the atmosphere. So you don't have that precip risk of freezing rain or sleet or anything like that. It does turn over to all snow, I think, pretty quickly. Detroit, though, we stay as rain for the event. The cold air just doesn't really sweep in here until the end when the moisture sweeps out. And even then, it's not the coldest of cold situations. First up, the glaze of ice. We've got that about maybe 1/10 of an inch, and it's patchy in terms of amounts. And then in terms of other concerns, the wind. Very strong winds, and we got to talk about that, Greg. There actually may be some severe winds by Thursday here. Then to the south, we've got strong storms there as well.
Yeah, and those winds that you're talking about are bringing a lot of moisture northward out of the Gulf of Mexico, which is going to help fuel some storms later on today. Jen, thank you very much. Let's have a look at what we've got ongoing
now. Joining us now with some tips is board-certified dermatologist Dr. Elizabeth Kirikoff. We soothe dry skin.
Thanks so much. I love this question because there's so much
to see that, right? You're going to either scoop out or squeeze out of a tube. Now, what about ingredients, though? Is there something specific we should look for when choosing face wash and moisturizer?
Absolutely. So sometimes in the wintertime, it's actually more
25.
I would not have known.
I had to look it up.
Right. It was just all kites fly the same, but clearly not.
I've always thought it's easier to fly on a not so crazy windy day, you know, because then sometimes the winds can be erratic.
It's almost too much. Yeah. You don't want it to be crazy wind. First of all, the string breaks.
Yes.
The kite itself breaks. Yeah, it's a mess. So yeah, lighter winds.
I would never pick DC either for like one of the biggest kite festivals, just because you think about a beach and the uninterrupted wind coming in off the ocean.
That's a good point. Maybe
It's just
maybe around the mall.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, open space, maybe a little better. Yeah.
I mean, today's a nice day to fly a kite.
Yeah, it is nice.
Yeah.
63. My goodness. January?
February?
No, it's February now. Wow. Yeah. Crazy, crazy. Yeah. So get out there and fly the kites.
Yes.
Enjoy it.
Why not?
The Headless Chicken Festival.
What?
Yes, you heard that correct. It celebrates.
There's no head.
Yeah, literally, there is no head. Celebrates a chicken from back in the 40s that was actually on the way to the local farmer's dinner table. Somehow, this chicken survived the beheading and became quite famous for this. Toured the country, had folks coming from far and wide to see it. Mike actually ended up living for 18 months with no head.
What?
No head. Now, in his memory, you've got your festival with a car show, live music, and a wing-eating contest. It's scheduled every year for the first weekend in June. So first weekend in June, go check out Mike the Headless Chicken
You
Festival.
got to plan ahead for this.
You do have to plan ahead. Yeah, I just saw, I was like, this is the most oddball festival.
That is the weirdest festival I've ever heard of. And weirdest story, actually. Do you think it's
There's
real
more to it.
There's more to it?
Oh, no, yeah, there's, this is real. This is for
Are
real.
there pictures?
Unfortunately, yes, there are. We saved folks from having to see that, but there are pictures.
Oh, my goodness.
Not a bad day in Fruita. 43 degrees. I mean,
not bad.
Coolish, but sunshine, not
Well,
bad.
yeah, watch your chickens. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Well, on that note, what were we talking about? Our question of the day?
Crazy big time snowstorm, particularly a nor'easter.
No.
I can't think of a big one that has happened.
You saw yesterday off the coast.
Yeah.
But it's too far off
away.
the coast to create any weather for us. What could have been.
The rundown on when some of those big storms may be hitting out there. Lots to track here for us as we head through the midweek.
Yeah, a lot to track, and you know, it's no surprise, I guess.
Is it a surprise, or should it be a surprise? We're going to delve into that one. Plus, on the show, we're going to talk about the dry air, the lower dew points that come with winter, and how you can actually help your skin not be so dry. Well, today's big deal. Pick a struggle. Another storm.